an organised crime gang who audaciously kidnapped a major drug dealer in the street after posing as police officers before subjecting him to 12 hours of torture while demanding a £500,000 ransom, have now been locked up for their roles in the extraordinary plot, in which their victim was arrested as he left a barber shop in Hill after having his hair cut. His movements had been tracked by them for weeks. At first, he had no idea that the police officers, dressed in plain clothes officers, were in fact kidnappers, Manchester Crown Court heard. But soon after, his suspicions were raised, and he learned that he had actually been abducted after being driven to a lockup in Gorton. There, during a 12-hour ordeal, he was tasered to the testicles, had his arm burnt by a blowtorch, and he had a realistic-looking imitation gun put to his head. His kidnappers believed he was an underworld figure worth millions. They demanded 100,000 in cash, as well as cocaine and heroin, worth a further 400,000, in order for him to be released. But his family raised the alarm with police after they were contacted with ransom demands. Armed police raided the yard and rescued him. 5 members of the gang were sentenced in 2020. Now the final 3 have been locked up, including the outfit's heavy, who meted out the punishment to their victim, and the man his accomplices referred to as Big Dave. The victim, who was kidnapped in April 2019, said he had previously associated with bad people. His kidnappers believed he would have ready access to substantial amounts of cash and prohibited drugs, prosecutor Henry Blackshaw said. John Freeman, a friend of the victim who regularly played football with him, became the inside man in the plot. He helped provide information about him as an out-of-town gang was recruited to carry out the kidnap in order to avoid suspicion falling onto Manchester's based criminals. A Midlands-based outfit was sourced for the plot. The gang spent weeks tracking his movements. About a month before the kidnap, Freeman went out for a meal with the victim at Pars Wood in Didsbury, luring him there so accomplices could place a tracking device on his car. Then on April the 11th, 2019, the gang struck as the victim left Snipes Barbers in Hale. He was approached by Daniel Lowe, Ben Ukaegbu, and John Bishop as police officers. They told him he was under arrest on suspicion of Class A drug dealing. He took it at face value, Mr. Blackshaw said, and acquiesced, as he was handcuffed and placed in the Audi A6. The officers told him that there was no room at any nearby police custody suites as they stopped on the back street in Gorton, but the reality of his situation soon became clear when he was dragged out of the vehicle by Mick Walfall and then bundled into a VW transporter. He was driven to a lockup in Gorton, where he was held for the next 12 hours as a 500,000 ransom demand was made to his family, but police stormed the unit after being tipped off by the victim's family. In January 2020, Michael Etuhu, then 36, a former footballer agent whose brothers both played for Manchester City, John Bishop, 32, Ben Ukaegbu, 39, Daniel Lowe, 29, and Nicky Barnes were all jailed after pleading guilty to conspiracy to kidnap and conspiracy to blackmail. Etuhu of Abbeycroft Close, Tyldesley, a facilitator and organiser of the plot, was jailed for 10 years and 2 months. Ukaegbu, of no fixed address, received 11 years and 3 months. Lowe, of Greenwood Road, Northampton, was sentenced to 10 years and 6 months. Barnes, of Byfield Road, Northampton, was jailed for 12 years, and Bishop, of Stanley Road, Chingford, London, was sentenced to 7 years. John Freeman, 29, of Rosshill Walk, Hulme, and Delroy Chin, 47, of Billington Road, Northampton, who fitted a tracker onto the victim's car, were sentenced after being found guilty of conspiracy to kidnap after a trial. Macar Walthall, 40 of Pencourt, Northampton, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to kidnap and was sentenced alongside them. Walthall was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months. Freeman was sentenced to 9 years, while Chin was jailed for 11 years. Sentencing Judge Hilary Manley said, "This was a sophisticated, premeditated, and carefully organised criminal enterprise." After the hearing, Detective Sergeant Mark Evans of Greater Manchester Police's Major Incident Team said, "This was a lengthy investigation, and I am pleased today that we have concluded proceedings by locking up the final 3 members involved in this plot." Freeman was a friend of the victim, regularly playing football with him, as well as luring the victim to Parswood Centre. He also reported the vehicle registration of the victim in his mobile phone, along with the names of the victim's family members. He sourced the lockup used to hold the victim and met with the kidnap team in the days before the actual kidnap, travelling in a convoy with their vehicles from the lockup, where the victim would eventually be held on a visit to a pub in Alderley Edge, which was set up as the original drop location for the ransom money. We hope this provides some closure for the victim and their family, and they can finally move forward with their lives. I would like to thank them for their patience and assistance with the investigation," he added. Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my crime channel. Thank you.